All right, party people. This your man Griff. Now, today, y'all, well, many of y'all don't know I love cooking. I love cooking so much that y'all seen this, but I'm gonna show y'all again. I bought this bad boy here. Okay. Yeah, $11,000 altogether. Okay, $10,000 for the stove, $1,000 to get it installed. Bought this almost 20 years ago. Working great. All right. Runs on gas, or electric, or propane. I got it running on gas. Gas runs more efficient. It's hotter. Electric, my electric bill would be sky if I did that. So what I'm gonna do today is make some ghee. All right, ghee is what is called clarified butter. I found out about this maybe 8 years ago, just by happen chance, looking at some stuff on the line about cooking, and I really like it. It takes it's basically butter without the milk in it. It's made from butter with milk in it, but then they boil the milk out. All right, this is gonna be a little bit long video, so just bear with me. All right, but I'm gonna be clipping it up because I'm gonna start stopping all that. All right, and thanks again for looking, subscribing, liking, sharing, all that good stuff, commenting. Want to hear your comments. So ghee, that's what you'll see. A lot of people are starting to get into it. Now, the reason why I have these two, back here is some brown rice and quinoa that I made this morning for the wife. And I'm going to be cooking her some salmon today, smoking. Well, nah, it's too cold to be outside, so I ain't going to smoke it. I'm going to just cook it in the oven. All right, I'm going to cook that in the oven. So I made that today. That is just like the store-bought. I made that myself, my rice cooker here. And I hand cooked the quinoa and the brown rice, and then mix it all in there and stuff. So I got these two because the brand of butter that I normally use, which is Kerrygold, and it is excellent in my opinion. The problem with the Kerrygold is that it appears that the packaging that they use has that PFAS, that forever chemicals. And I've been using Kerrygold for probably 6-7 years. Never had a problem with the flavor or the consistency, none of that. But I'm gonna have to switch from that until I can verify whether or not they change their wrapping so that the that forever chemical stuff doesn't get leached in there. So switching over to a different butter. So I'm switching over to this one. Now, the key thing about ghee, it has to be unsalted. Okay. Now you can use any butter, but I like to use the organic or at least grass-fed butter and everything. So I got 4 sticks all together. That's what we got over here and everything. And I haven't heard any PFAS complaints about this one. So organic value, we're going to see if you measure up to my Kerrygold that I was using. Okay. Now in the past, I've tried other butters. None of them really worked. Didn't like them. They just didn't have the right consistency, the flavor, or none of that. So here's how I'm going about doing. Let me switch the camera around. So I have my pot. And what I'm going to end up doing here is put the butter in there. And now y'all can see how fast that's melting. Okay. That's how hot this stove is. That's how hot it is. Okay. It's that hot that it starts melting right away. So I put all of those in there. And also this here setup is my cheese strainer and everything. My cheese strainer. So I use butter strainer, cheesecloth strainer, and it strains it into there, and y'all will see why. Okay. So that's the basic setup that I use to start doing my ghee. I got to melt the butter down. So let me show y'all. So all of that white foamy stuff, that's the milk. That's the milk being cooked off. Well, I don't know why I'm stuttering so bad. So one of the things I do, so I take a scoop and I look at this. This is not the finished product. What you want is to be able to see all the way through the butter to the spoon, to the bottom of the spoon. In other words, this has to be 100% clear. Okay, so all of this will cook off as you cook, and it'll get stuck on the sides and all that stuff. and I just stir it up. And right now now the main thing is I keep it stirred. So right now I'm just stirring just to get it melted and everything. So with this here hot plate being at 600 degrees, it don't take long for anything that's put on here to boil. Okay, you put a cup of water on here in a good pot, it'll start boiling in about a minute. That's how powerful this oven is. You do it over this side, which is about, I think, 400 degrees, maybe a minute and a half. But nonetheless, it moves quick. So all of this white foamy stuff that you're seeing is the milk starting to separate from the butter. And again, what you want, this has to be 100% clear all the way through. So I'm gonna continue stirring and then I will be right back. Oh, yeah, I'm back, but one more thing, just so y'all can see. So right now it's 10:24. I want y'all to be able to keep up with the time, okay? So 10:24 for the most part is when I'm starting. All right, so 10:25. In that short amount of time, we got this bad boy really bubbling and foaming. Now, what some people would do, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna switch you over, so it can calm down just a touch. And one of the things that I will do sometimes, I'm gonna do on this one, is I will scrape off a little bit of that foam, and that helps it cook quicker. Yeah, you're losing a little bit of butter, but not as bad. So it's clearing up a little bit. It's getting a little more clear. And I just throw that out. So I don't try to scrape every bit, because you start getting too deep into trying to scrape every piece of the foam off. Then you really get into taking too much butter. So it's starting to get clear. It's starting. So since I'm not used to this butter and I don't want to overcook it and burn it, I'm going to put it on my lower heat here. And the key thing is I have to keep it stirred. Got to keep stirring. Got to keep stirring. Because sometimes if you just let it sit, and on mine, because of the heat, it'll start burning on the bottom. So I'm stirring, and then I'm checking the clarity. All right. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. And what happens also is a lot of the milk that gets cooked off falls to the bottom. It'll ball up in little pellets, and then it'll fall to the bottom. Now, the main thing is you don't want this here to burn, because that burnt flavor or that burnt taste will be in your butter when it solidifies. It's getting there. Some people will use a whisk. This is my favorite spoon, so I always use this. The main reason, because it got a very, very long handle on it. It's starting to clear. It's starting to get clear. And y'all can see how along the edges that milk is being tossed up there with the stirring, and it's sticking. And that also helps pull it out of there. So yes, now other people don't stir constantly, but me, because of my stove and because I don't have a particular heat control where I can turn it down to instead of 400 degrees to like 100, I have to keep it stirred so it don't burn. So that's why I'm constantly stirring. And then I'm checking. It's getting there. Now this butter is taking a little bit longer to clarify than what I'm used to. But again, this is my first time using it. So I'm just going with the flow and experimenting. It's getting there. It's starting. So sometimes if I'm, so like now, just to make sure that I'm not overcooking it, I'm taking it off direct heat. Move that one out the way. Now, still enough heat coming into this pan It's getting there. It's getting there. So at the top, so you see right at the edge, you can start seeing like a separation where it's clear and where it's still cloudy. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, as it goes, you'll start being able to see clear through to the bottom of it. So if you look, you can see there's a little bit of separation where the top is clear and the bottom is still cloudy. So what I want is the whole thing. So now that the temperature has stopped and it's not boiling anymore, that's the wife. Hey, babe. Yeah. So I'm just doing a video on how I'm making clarified butter. So it's getting there. It's getting there. So now I got to make sure I get some more heat in here to do the separation. And a little bit of butter spilt over there. And when it clears back up a little bit more, I'm going to be right back. So right now we're at 10:31. I'll be right back. All right. So now we are at 10:32. Okay, so now I'm going to show y'all how it's looking now. Look at that. See, that's the clarity I want. See how much clearer it is? And you can tell all of that milk solids is up against the side there. You see there? You can see all the way through. That's what I'm looking for. Once I get to there, then it's basically ready. And then you'll have some little bubbles on top. And then boom. That's the clarified butter part. That's it right there. So now that I have that, this is where I do the strainer part and strain all of that into here. So let's take a look. Look at that. And you can see all the way to the bottom. That's what you want. That's the clarified butter look that I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And then now I'll just pour it in here and let it strain through. And all of that, this is all of that milk stuff. And you see that part right there? That's that burn part. That's what you don't want. You don't want a whole lot of that. It's going to burn a little bit, but you don't want all of that to be, you don't want a whole lot of that. And then down there. So that was, what, 16 ounces of butter. I normally get about 12. Yeah, I would get basically 12 ounces clarified. So 4 ounces of that stuff is nothing but milk solids, just milk. Okay. Oops, and that's the time. Okay. The key thing that you need to understand about this clarified butter is that it is hot. And that's why I have it on this is like a marble serving plate so that I can not burn my counter or anything else. And I use the Pyrex glass, something thick. Don't use plastic, because this thing is really hot. And how hot? This is how hot that butter is. So you play around with this if you want. You put it in a flimsy glass container if you want. So what I end up doing now is letting this, 230 degrees. That's hot. So what I'm going to do now is I just let this sit and cool down until it hits about 100 degrees. So once it hits 100 degrees, then I'll transfer it to a container. So I have, this glass container, which got ghee in it already. And what I'm gonna do is just set it over here on my stove, and the heat from the stove will melt that. We'll transfer in there and melt that and everything. And just so y'all can get an understanding when I say this thing is hot. This is how hot this hot plate is. All right, so you can see it's contacting. This is how hot my hot plate is. So people are like, man, it ain't that no 600. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Burning my finger now. It touched the thing a little bit. Okay, so y'all can see this thing is that hot. Let me turn it this way. So this thing is that hot. Okay, so it's rated to be 600 degrees, 400 degrees. Now with the top off, of course the heat goes down. Just wanted y'all to see how hot that is, because people don't think that it is. This is the end result. These are just little air bubbles that you see, but you can see all the way through. That's what you want. That is called clarified butter. Look at there. That is nice. 12 ounces. And again, this is the Organic Valley. I normally use Kerrygold, but we're going to see how this Organic Valley is. Okay, I'll also do a smell test to it to see if it has a buttery smell, and it does. That's a quick video on how I make clarified butter. Probably took, what, maybe 10, 15 minutes, you know, that long to do if you know what you're doing, but you got to have the right pots, and having a stainless steel pot is best, not one with that Teflon stuff in it. Using glass containers is best. No plastic, no thin glass, because that 200 degrees will shock it and break it. Okay, I've had that happen to me. So just wanted to show y'all that. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace. And give me your comments below. All right, party people, this your man Griff. So here's the end result. This here is the ghee butter. And yes, I know I said the last video was in, but this is it. So I was just checking it to make sure it was good and solid. I put my little thermometer in there, 62 degrees, so it's nice and cold. All right, so one of the things I like to do is, and this is how I test it out to see if it's exactly like I want. So I just put this on here, and I was trying to test it out a little bit earlier, and I just let this here heat it up. So I put that on there, and you see how quick that melts? Look how fast that melts compared to traditional butter. Okay, compared to traditional butter, and look how clear it is. 100% clear. This is why it's called clarified butter. When you cook it, it's completely clear. Now, in comparison to regular butter, and I use about the same size amount. If I can, there we go. Takes a little bit longer. And then you see all of that milk is coming out. That's the difference between the two. You see, it's taking a little bit longer. And now you see the clear butter is right here, but this is the milk. So some people who got milk allergies don't want that. So that's why you go with the clear butter, the clarified butter. So that's what I like to do. I love to cook it and make it myself. And I tell you, it comes out nice. That is what I look for. So that's my test that I do to make sure that it's clear. And it shouldn't be any white stuff in it whatsoever. And since it's not, that means I cooked all the milk out of it. And because the milk is out, it has a longer shelf life, meaning you don't have to put it in the refrigerator. The only reason why I put it in the refrigerator is to make it solid. Some people keep it soft, sort of like at room temperature, like this consistency here of the store-bought brand, okay? And it melts just as quick and fast and everything. So that's it. This is the end of the video for real, for real. Hold up, let me take that pan off. It's a little hot. I don't want to burn myself. All right, so that's it for real, for real. Close my lid. And that butter is good. The milk's cooked out, good shelf life. And because it doesn't go bad, or it will go, I mean, at some point, but it's not going to go spoil and stuff because it doesn't have all that milk in it. That's why you have to keep butter refrigerated, because it has that milk in there. You get that milk out, you don't need to keep it refrigerated. So go look it up. I think I'm gonna put a link in the description about the health benefits of ghee butter, Ghee. All right, y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.